Yes, it is.
Okay, so we are now live streaming on YouTube. I'd like to do some introductions in a moment, and I will also tell you that
live streaming on YouTube.
I'm going to mute that person real quickly. I'm also going to tell you that this meeting has a waiting room. So if anybody knows of anybody seeking to join, I think I get a pop-up when there's a request to be admitted. But again, if any of you know anybody who seeks to be admitted, let me know. Okay, I'm going to unmute everybody now, and I'll ask for some introductions. I'll go first. I am Jane Barwick. Mr. Caskey, you want to go next?
Yes, Your Honor. My name is Adam Caskey. I'm the attorney for Sheriff Jackson in this action.
Okay, who'd like to go next?
Beverly Ellis, representing the James family heirs.
Okay, Ms. Ellis.
Charles James.
Okay.
Charles James, representing the James family heirs also.
Okay. Okay. Hang on just one second, y'all. Okay, who's next?
Sharon Porterfield. I'm here on behalf of Asset Recovery, Inc.
Okay, let me get that down. Asset Recovery. And Ms. Okay.
Jessica Johnson here with the City of Atlanta.
Welcome. And you're on the screen. Is this Ms. Sonia James? Do you want to go next?
Okay, yes, hello everybody. My name is Sonia James and I'm a James family heir.
Okay. All right. And finally, there's somebody on the screen, Elijah. Did I say that correctly? Maybe Frozen? Does anybody know who that is?
I think that's a Jimmy James on.
Okay. Would the gentleman whose tile reads Elijah, or do you mind introducing yourself? Are you Mr. Charles James?
No.
Okay, that's the one. Okay. Could the gentleman whose tile says Elijah in front of a china hutch please identify yourself, sir? Okay. Does anybody know who that is?
I can't see him.
It may be Jimmy James. It may be Jimmy James, who's also a James heir.
Okay. Is Jimmy James on this conference? And does the man who's identified on the screen as Elijah hear me? Okay, well, we're going to go forward. And let me begin also by asking whether anybody knows of anyone who was coming in person to the courtroom or to the courthouse.
Well, actually, I'm here, Sonia James.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. James, you're down at the courthouse?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, well, apologies for that. Do you know of anybody else there?
No, I haven't seen anyone else.
Okay, all right. Again, apologies. Okay, Mr. Caskey, I don't know who this gentleman, okay, wait a minute. Somebody, and we got another James coming in. Dr. Linda James. We'll wait for her to get set up. Okay, we've just been joined by Dr. Linda James. Is that correct, ma'am? Sir? Dr. Linda James, do you hear us? Okay. Does everybody know who that is?
Yes.
That's our oldest sister.
Okay.
James heir.
Okay. Now, again, I don't know who Elijah is, but Mr. Caskey, I'm going to ask you to start us off, please, sir.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. This case concerns tax sale excess funds produced from a December 3rd, 2019 tax sale of property known as 0 Welch Street. And following the tax sale, or as a result of the tax sale, there were $18,006.21 in excess funds that were created and that are in the possession of the sheriff. To facilitate this case as a normal course, the first step is to examine the title to the property to try to identify anybody and everybody that could possibly make a claim to these funds. The title history was a little, let's say, it's kind of common you see in some parts of Atlanta when there hasn't been a transaction since the 30s, 40s, and 50s. It's a little muddy. So, Your Honor, that's why you see a lot of respondents in this case, because there were numerous potential claimants, most of them stemming from being possible heirs of Mr. John A. James Sr. So all those parties were identified, named, and served in this case. In addition, asset recovery was named and served in this case based on being the assignee of one of the heirs of the James family. As Your Honor can see, there's multiple members of the James family on the call, presumably because they want to make a claim to the money together with Ms. Porterfield for asset recovery. To my knowledge, the City of Atlanta's claim, I believe, has been paid, so I think we're okay there. But at this stage, Your Honor, the sheriff has fulfilled his statutory duties. He's named, served everyone. We had extensive service of process in this case and did incur a lot of expenses. But we're asking at this time from the sheriff's perspective to be discharged from any further obligations with respect to the excess funds and also be awarded the statutory attorney's fees and expenses in connection with bringing this case. And of course, Your Honor, we're happy to assist the court in any way we can to bring this case to a final resolution.
Mr.
As
Cassidy,
far as the, I'm sorry.
go ahead. I was going to ask you if you have your fees and expenses tabulated at this point.
Yes, Your Honor. Yes, Your Honor, I do. So the amount of attorney fee time that we've incurred is 9.3 hours. My hourly rate is $300 per hour. I've been in practice since 2004 and I've always worked in this particular field. So that's $2,790 of attorney's fees we are requesting. Your Honor, we did incur a lot of service of process expenses. We actually have $3,740.85 of expenses, of which $2,942.25 is related to process servers and publication. Your Honor, we also had a title certificate charge of due to the number of parties was $448.60.
Give me that title fee again.
Title certificate charge was $350.
Okay.
And the total amount of attorney's fees and expenses we are requesting is $6,530.85.
You lay down.
Okay. Now, does that include, Mr. Caskey, I missed possibly missed a sentence in there. I had total for expenses, $3,740.85. $2,942.25 was for service. Then there was publication, and I kind of missed that number, and then $350 for a title search. Was there anything else?
The process, I included the process server and publication costs as part of the $2,942. I believe the publication cost was in this case $125 of the $2,942.
Okay. All right. So total is $6,530.85 as of the beginning of today.
Your Honor, and I'll cap it at that.
Okay. All right. Now, anything else, Mr. Caskey, before I hear from others? May get back to you.
Your Honor, there's one thing that just to may help explain some confusion. as you talk to the respondents, there may be question about who the Thompsons are. And I just wanted to clarify. So the Thompsons were the record owners of this. They acquired this property in the 30s. There's no evidence of a deed from the Thompsons into John A. James Sr. Now, that's, from my experience, sometimes legal descriptions back then weren't exactly accurate. I have no reason to believe that Mr. James didn't somehow have a right to this property. I know that the tax assessors show that Mr. James owned the property, and the property was returned in his name for many, 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 many years. But in case if there's a question about who these Thompson people are, I just wanted to provide a little clarification there.
And has anyone to your knowledge answered, and I'm going to ask in a moment if anyone is on the call, but have you heard anything, or has there been any formal response from anybody with the Thompson family? That's what I was.
No, Your Honor. No, Your Honor.
Okay. And so the taxpayer, or the person at least recognized by Fulton County was Mr. James, no, wait, John James Sr.?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay. All right, Mr. Caskey, I may get back to you, sir. Just
Okay.
stay on the line for just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, just for ease of kind of our time here, I'm gonna go next. Ms. Johnson, do you have anything?
No, Your Honor. The city has withdrawn its claim.
Okay, thank you. And that will take us to Ms. Porterfield, and then I'm going to get to the family. Ms. Porterfield, what do you claim that your clients owed?
Asset recovery took an assignment from John A. James as an heir, and that is attached to our claim in interpleader, which was filed on June 26, 2020.
How
So
much?
we are the assignee of one of the heirs, and to the extent other heirs have come forward, I don't know if we need to do some discovery, if we all need to speak as a group, because I don't know the other heirs, and I don't have direct contact with John A. James anymore. My client basically took assignment, purchased his rights to claim the excess funds, and I haven't had any contact. I have tried to call on Friday just so I could try to maybe understand the family tree, and it may be that the other members can clarify some of this for us. So it's hard to determine, who gets what portion, or if it's evenly split between the heirs that have appeared today. I don't have any exception to Mr. Caskey's fees or costs, so I don't object to those being paid first and the amount claimed. He's one of the best out there doing these claims, so if he says he expended that time, he probably expended twice that amount of time, and deserves every dime. So that's really where I am. I wish I could provide a little more help with the family tree and say I know for certain we're entitled to 1/8 or whatnot, but it sounds like it may be a split between the heirs that are all here today and my client.
How much is asset recovery's claim?
Well, it's really to the extent, in these types of claims, if no one else had appeared, then we would have said no one else is making a claim as an heir, and we would ask for all of it. But to the extent everyone's here, I think it's going to determine, we need to hear more from the other family members, about the family tree, so we can decide, are certain members coming off the same branch and they split, say there was 4 main heirs, but then 3 of the claimants are all stemming from one heir, then that would affect the amount. I don't know. I really need to hear from the other parties what they're claiming.
Okay, so in other words, your client, you don't have a tax lien that you purchased.
No, this is just, I'm standing in the same shoes as the other heirs, as far as our claims today.
Okay. Okay, so this isn't a Vesta type thing.
No, this is just an heir assigned.
Your,
So
your client bought a judgment or something.
just bought one of the heirs' rights to the link to the funds. Excuse me.
Okay, I'm sorry, that took me a moment to.
I'm sorry if I wasn't clear on
to
that.
get what you're saying.
Why don't make sense?
Okay, who would like amongst the James, who would like to go?
Charles
first?
James.
Okay. You want to go first, Mr. Charles James?
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Of record, I'm the administrator of the James estate, but I was ineffective. I'm just being honest with you. But the situation is, John Allen James that they got to sign for whatever assets they had, that was a forgery because John Allen James has my sister Tanya as his legal guardian. They would have had to communicate with my sister Tanya in order to get a signature. They wouldn't have gotten it from Allen. And to sit up and say that he gave his rights, he assigned his rights, someone duped them.
Okay. Well, let's get some information and then I'm going to let everybody talk, but help me with one thing. Is John James Sr. dead?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And when did he die?
1989.
Okay.
February 9th.
February 9th, 1989. Okay. Now, what did Mr. James have children?
Yes,
And can somebody list them for me?
I can.
Sure. Go.
Linda,
I'm here.
Beverly,
Yes.
Alan, Michael, Diane, David.
Wait, whoa, slow down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I got Linda, Beverly, Alan, Michael, Diane.
Yes,
Okay, who else?
David,
Okay,
myself, Charles,
okay,
Marcita,
all right.
Jimmy, Sonia, and Tanya.
Sonia,
Michael was already deceased.
Tanya, and Michael is deceased.
David
Okay,
is deceased now also.
David is deceased.
But
Okay,
you did get Sonia and Tanya.
I got Sonia and Tanya.
Yes, okay.
Now, Mr. Charles James, when you say that you're the administrator of the James estate, is that through Fulton County?
Yes,
Okay, and do you have letters of administration?
I do. I did not bring them with me, but yes, I do.
Okay, and when did you get those?
I'm going to say around 2006. I might not be correct on the year because it's been so long ago.
It was way before that.
It was before that. Okay.
It was 1996, I believe. Or
Yes,
was it?
yes,
1996?
yes,
Okay, that Charles James was appointed administrator?
yes.
Okay, all right. All right, Mr. Charles James, I'm going to get back to you, but I'm going to go to Ms. Sonia James. I think you were on first this morning. So what's your position here?
Well, yeah, he was correct in naming all of the heirs, the living heirs of John Allen James Sr. whenever he passed away on February 9th, 1989. But
Yes.
also I want to mention that we have a John Allen James Jr. And I believe that's what asset recovery is trying to claim, that John Allen James Jr. maybe signed something. But I also have an affidavit here from my sister Tanya, who has legal guardianship over John Allen James Jr., stating that John Allen James' fingers were cut off and he cannot sign any documents.
Okay.
So I have that affidavit here and it's stamped. And,
Right.
and anyway, in fact, if he would have wanted to sign something, she's his legal guardian. So she would have had to be present and consent to it.
Okay, let me ask you this. So of the list of heirs, I don't have a John Allen James Jr.
Yeah, Charles James just mentioned him when he said Allen, but his name, his
Allen.
full name.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's Allen. Okay,
Uh-huh.
all right. Okay, and that's who, Ms. Porterfield, is that who you're claiming through?
Mhm.
The man
Are
known.
claiming through a John A. James. Listening to what everybody's having to say, because I represent Atlanta or Asset Recovery. I've never had contact with anyone prior to Asset Recovery hiring us. But listening to what everyone's saying, I'm going to recommend to my client that they withdraw their claim, because
Thank you.
I think that Asset Recovery maybe has been duped, and I don't want to go forward with a claim that I don't feel confident in, especially where the family members all have the same information and agree. And I do not doubt any of them. I doubt the strength of my own claim. And so I am going to recommend that we withdraw the claim. Just,
Okay.
Thank you.
Just from the little bit I've heard in the past 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, before you get off the line, Ms. Porterfield,
I'll stay
let
on.
me figure out who else. I know I've got Charles James on the line or on the call. I know I've got Sonia James. Down here I have Dr. Linda James. So let me be checking these off. I got
It's Jimmy James.
And Jimmy,
Yes, I'm Jimmy James. I'm sorry, I'm new to Zoom. I was
okay.
having some technical difficulties.
Okay, good. Welcome. I mean, I know you've been on a while, so I've got Charles, I've got Linda. Is Beverly with Charles?
Yes.
Kyle says Beverly. Okay. I've got the man Alan.
John
Oh.
Allen James Jr. is not on Zoom today.
Actually, what it is, I'm on a computer that my daughter was using, so it says Aaliyah J.A., but this is Jimmy James.
Jimmy. Oh, okay. Jimmy. All right. So Alan is not on.
No.
Okay. And do I have either Sonia or, yeah, I've got Sonia. How about Tanya?
Yeah,
No.
unfortunately, she wasn't able to make it this morning.
Okay. And how about Diane?
No.
Okay. How about Marcita?
No.
Okay. And did David and Michael,
They're
David,
deceased. They're
Yeah.
deceased.
yeah, listen to it. Did they have any children?
No.
Neither one of them?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay. So somebody tell me what you want me to do. Are y'all all agreed as to how the money should be divided? Or any of you fighting with each other?
No. We would like our property.
We're not
We-
trying to get any money.
Okay. Property, I think, is gone, right, Mr. Caskey?
Your
Oh,
website.
Your Honor, I'm sorry, I put myself on mute. Your Honor, the property is sold at tax sale. I can't speak to the status of the right of redemption at this point, but the only matter at issue in this case is disbursement of the money.
Okay.
That's all.
Okay. So are well, there's some question as to the ownership of the property.
Yeah.
Your Honor, and I will just add that the time period for the family to save the property by definition has not passed. Just double checking my notes. It was a December 3rd, 2019 tax sale. So that means that the family can still redeem the property, get the property out, redeemed and out of the tax sale process.
Okay. All right. And the county takes no position as to ownership, other than Mr. James was listed as the owner on the tax records, which is not necessarily dispositive.
That's correct, Your Honor. The county takes the sheriff for sure takes no position.
Okay. And what'd your title search conclude? If I can ask.
Sure. I mean, the reason we named the Thompson family, the unknown heirs of the Thompsons, is because we could not locate a deed from the Thompsons to Mr. James. Now, but what we did see is that Mr. James owned a lot of property on Welch Street. And my suspicion is that it was just, there was a typographical error in some legal descriptions or mistakes in legal descriptions. Because the property was returned as Mr. James for a long period of time. But I think it would be ultimately up to the James family in a separate proceeding if they needed to establish their ownership.
And would that proceeding be in Superior Court or through quiet title, or would it be in probate court?
I
You
believe.
don't have to answer that if you don't want to, but
I mean, I think ultimately, if they want to get marketable title, they would probably need to bring a quiet title petition in the Superior Court,
okay.
or at least find through affidavits or other ways to establish the missing deed that at least we could not locate.
Okay.
And there's another property on Welch Street that's in a very similar situation. The interpleader is currently pending before Judge Ellerby. That case is different than this case in that it was clearly a deed into Mr. James. There wasn't a missing link as there is in this case.
And is it, and this property, I'm assuming with the 0 address, is unimproved?
Yes, Your Honor, that's correct. And the other property is also on Welch Street, and it's also a 0 Welch Street as
Okay.
well. So yeah, it's vacant. They're vacant lots.
Okay, so is there one, back to the James family, is there one person, I mean, do you all agree that Charles James is the administrator?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so I'm going to go back to Mr. Caskey, Ms. Porterfield, and Ms. Johnson. What do I do? Anybody got any ideas?
Well, Your Honor, if the James family is in agreement that Charles can be the holder of the money, that I think you could enter an order directing that the sheriff's expenses be paid and then the remainder dispersed to Charles. Or, Your Honor, if everybody, if the family would like just to have the checks dispersed separately, then if everyone could email me their information, then I could draft the final order to reflect that the pro rata share be distributed to each of the family members and circulate that amongst the parties. And then we could present the proposed order to Chambers.
I think you understand that I love you, correct, Mr. Caskey?
I appreciate that.
I make no bones about it. Okay, so did the James family agree that only those on the call are entitled to money, or?
Your Honor,
Yes.
this is Charles again.
Okay.
We are not seeking to get that money. We're not seeking to get that money at all. We want to exercise our right to get our property back.
Okay.
We're not trying to get any of that money because we're not selling.
Mr. Caskey, is it possible for you to give us an order that pays the sheriff, that recognizes the withdrawal of asset recovery's claim, and I guess leaves the balance in the registry of the clerk, or do I just leave the case open?
Your Honor, I think we could draft it where the money stays with the clerk, but it's also the case is made inactive, so that way it doesn't continue to show up on your docket.
Okay.
That's the way I've done it in the past.
Okay, so then all the James family understands here that the money is going to stay in the clerk's office, and that may be money that you're entitled to. A minute ago, we were getting ready to write you checks. But now, if you want to establish the recovery of the property, you're going to have to come back later and do something about the money. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Yes. So,
Judge, may I say something? I just want to tell the parties, the James family, that this is an area of law that both Mr. Caskey and I both know a lot about. And if outside of these proceedings, they are looking for any guidance, I'd be happy to give them a few minutes of my time to explain the difference between the excess funds and recovering the property by redeeming the tax deed. You know, I don't want to take up the court's time, but I just want to express that I would be happy to try to at least explain the procedures to them. and it may be that they need legal help, to meet their end goals. But I'm not suggesting they should hire me, but I wouldn't mind giving them a few minutes of my time just so they understand the process better.
Okay. Okay, I am going to say to the James family, and I think maybe that was Beverly who was trying to say something.
Yes, it is Beverly.
Okay.
There were a lot of inaccuracies in this interpleader, and maybe this is not the time to discuss that. But the interpleader indicated that my brother, of course, was the one who was trying to assign his rights to this asset recovery. I just wanted to know then how are these people vetted, and the other people that are on in the interpleader that are not related to us. All of them have been assigned, but you're asking us then to pay for that.
I did not understand your question, ma'am.
The question is Fulton County then responsible for payment to Mr. Caskey?
No, that's the court. There's one thing I'm certain of, and that is that I am going to order payment of the sheriff's costs, including attorney fees from these excess proceeds. So there will be about 11,000 left.
In your honor, I think I can speak a little bit to the question as well. The sheriff's in these situations, the sheriff has a pot of money that's not his. And the sheriff has an obligation to look to see anybody and everybody that could possibly make claim to the money. It's not the sheriff's job to decide who's entitled to the money, but it is the sheriff's job to notify anybody that potentially makes a claim. And so I think what happens in these cases is sometimes people that don't necessarily have a right to the funds are joined, but that's because, again, it's not the sheriff's role to make the decision of entitlement. It's ultimately the court's role. And hopefully that explains some of the confusion about why you sometimes, for example, there's United States of America and Georgia Receivables and Portfolio Recovery Associates. The reason they were joined in this case is because they have liens against people with similar names to the heirs, and they were therefore statutorily entitled to notice. But they didn't show up here today, and so presumably they did not file an answer. So presumably that means that they do not make a claim to these funds.
So just for the James family, what we're talking about doing now is leaving the remainder of the money with the clerk. I'm not quite sure what that does for anybody. But if that's the way you would like to proceed, I think Ms. Porterfield has made a generous offer to talk to any or all of you, because there is a very gray area here. And if you want this physical piece of property back, there's a lot that you have to do. And the court, I can't give you legal advice. And even if I could give you legal advice, I can't. So I'm going to go ahead. I would very much encourage you to call Ms. Porterfield, but I'm going to go ahead and direct that the county prepare an order as follows. And that is relieving the county of any further responsibility with regard to this case, awarding the county the sum of, let me get my notes, awarding the county the sum of $6,530.85, acknowledging for the record that Asset Recovery has withdrawn its claim, and stating that the remainder of the balance will remain with the clerk's office subject to further claims, but holding that the case is now inactive until further claims are made.
Okay, Your Honor, I've made those notes, and I will prepare. I have a proposed order, and I will alter it in accordance with your instructions, and we will circulate it this afternoon.
All right. Well, thank you all very much. Thank you, Ms. Porterfield. Thank you, Ms. Johnson, James family. It was very nice meeting all of you. I wish we could have gotten everything resolved today. And I wish we could have helped you on your way. This is only obviously part of it. Very much appreciate your presence today, and I hope your family's doing well. And we wish you the best going forward.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
All right.
Thank you all.
Your Honor.
Everybody's excused.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you.